So today I'll discuss a short documentary called Offline Dating about a man on a quest. I will do this by identifying the modes that are incorporated in this documentary, as well as how the director's style completes and creates an effective and engaging piece. The short documentary Offline Dating explores the simple concept that so many of us millennials are currently facing, in the fact that we're making love more efficient by creating apps such as Tinder, Poff, or even eHarmony to meet and engage with single people. In a sense, because of this, we've lost the ability to actually interact and approach someone in everyday life. The director Samuel Adams explores this when his friend Tom aims to find his next date offline. At first, things don't go as planned, and we watch as Tom grows from a nervous person to someone that's confident and has the ability to approach someone. This progression throughout the documentary helps us show the growth in Tom's character, and we as an audience are able to follow this growth, follow and observe it. Offline dating explores 2 out of the 6 modes identified by Bill Nichols. The 2 modes being observational and poetic. The audience is able to learn and understand the subject's journey by observing and listening to the scenes that play out. The observational mode overlaps itself in a way with cinema verite, where we see the complete truth. This is pretty evident in things such as when there's confrontation in the documentary against another male, or when we just have points where the characters look directly into the camera, which make it evident that they're not actors. We as the audience watch Tom start the day. In other aspects, we watch this maison scene incorporates itself especially when we see Tom at the beginning of the documentary, where he's starting his day, and we observe the maison scene and create an assumption from the way his apartment is, the way his clothes are, to simple things like that. We put together assumptions to create his character. We can observe how his mannerisms change from a nervous person to someone that's confident. This is clear in the documentary where Tom approaches, at the beginning, a group of girls, and he blatantly just asks them if any of them are single, and if they'd go out on a drink and have a drink with him. Compared to further on in the documentary, where he approaches 2 women in a grocery store, and instead of asking them if they're single, he starts by asking them how their day is, and then explaining to them the motives of him approaching them. Throughout the documentary, there are moments where it feels like a social experiment, because Tom is essentially out on an experiment to find if he can achieve successfully to get a date offline. Throughout Offline Dating, we see Tom interact with the subject matter and develop. We follow him from the beginning, where he first asks his friend out on a date unsuccessfully, to the point where he's able to communicate and interact with a woman in a grocery store and be invited over to dinner. The cut shots of Tom either in the car or sitting on the side of the bench in frustration, or even him just directly talking to the camera, help us as the viewer create a connection and interact with him. And we are able to develop an emotional connection with the character in a way, in the way in which many of the shots are taken, not only make us feel like the observer, but the light acoustic elements and the occasional lens flare and the warmer tones of the whole documentary itself have a poetic element which help drive it further. This poetic element is emphasized by Abraham's unique filmic style. Abraham's style is very loose and free in Offline Dating, where he's not afraid of letting his subject matter fall out of frame or out of focus. This is evident in a shot where Tom approaches 2 girls, and Abraham chooses to take the shot from behind the fence. At moments, the girls are in focus and sometimes the fence is in focus. This is extremely different to how his other documentaries are produced, that they're more structured and the subjects are in focus and are in frame. In offline dating, however, his style is very natural. It's filled with handheld and in-the-moment shots that help drive this observational and cinema verite kind of approach, where it's very truthful. Like, the audience cannot doubt that this is a real event not being acted out. However, the key aspects that link all of his works together is the idea of human connection, the ability to build a connection with someone. This is seen in his works such as his ad for Milka and World Wildlife Foundation. In Milka, he explores a connection between two people. And in World Wildlife Foundation, he explores the connection that humans have to animals. And in Offline Dating, he explores the connection that a man has to a woman. Abraham's approach to this documentary is unique and so effective. I don't think any other director could make this topic more engaging and more aesthetically pleasing that the way Abrahams has. Not only do the audience feel part of Tom's journey with the way that the footage was taken, with the way that we interact with the moments, with the shots that are taken in the moment, and with the subject, the audience feels part of Tom's journey with the interactive and in-the-moment shots of either the subject matter or the environment around him. The poetic elements such as the filters, the lens flares, the acoustic music all help drive the natural aesthetic that Samuel Abrahams has throughout his films.